just a little bit of luck as well. If you're at the right side where you can see the roundabout is the shortest way around, but if you're at the total other side of the road and the riders beside you are going to go the long way around, well, then you have got no choice but just to follow and go with them.
18.5 kilometres from home today. This is the city of Narbonne. Some of its spectacular cathedrals, and it's a modern city these days, as you can possibly see from some of the architecture. And yeah, very much a hub in the Aude area as we sail by. 18.3 kilometres to go, and there's a real pace about it today. Let's describe the entrance into our finish today as we head to Guisson, so leaving Narbonne behind. As you can see, we're in town. The lawnmowers have been out, so are the fans as well, to welcome the race through. Sunweb as well, with Soren Kragh Andersen just making sure that they're in a decent place. Orica Scott seem to be setting much of the pace at the moment. They're driving into this. The Kiwi Sam Bewley is part of that. Svein Tuft likewise, Jul Jensen, but Magnus Cort Nielsen I think is going to be their chosen son today. Let's talk about this approach then. We do a big loop around Narbonne, and then our final loop, if you like, it's almost like a wave really, will be in the last 2 kilometres. It's announced at 2.2 to go with a roundabout. They will take the left-hand side if they've got any sense about them. Then we take a gentle swing for an entire kilometre it takes to unwind it. So this rather focused turn right now, no shortcuts, and nobody trying to bunny hop and go the wrong way. The cordons have done their job for this one. Spectacular sculpture in the centre of that one. So we'll take a long bend to the right that will bring us to the Flamme Rouge. We take another turn, incidentally, and which brings us to a roundabout, a nasty one. They'll go straight over with 350 metres to go. Still with it's only about the last 150 metres, Sean, where you can get a view of the finish line, and that's going to beg a lot of enthusiasm. Let's hope the talent matches that enthusiasm, for some of the smaller teams here are fearing dive bombing.
Well, that will be an interesting one. How fast will it be in the final, considering that we haven't got the big teams, a lot of the big teams with the lead-out train. We have some, of course. And will they be able to keep the pace real high that it will stretch the peloton out? And that's always of big importance. If they can keep the pace in the final number of kilometres at 55, 60 kilometres per hour, well, then the peloton will be stretched out quite a lot. But if that's not the case, depending on the wind conditions as well as we come into the finish, because we do turn quite a bit in that final 4 kilometres, and if we do have a headwind, well, then it will be very difficult for the teams we have here, which are not, you know, big numbers, to keep the pace very high. And that's where we could see somebody trying to, you know, have a go and try, you know, slip away in the final number of kilometres. And it also creates danger, because when they're very much packed across the road, when it's not going at a super fast rate, it's always much more dangerous.
Yeah, it is. Here you've got those who are thinking of the title, making sure that they're in a decent place. Their team managers as well, the DSs, will be talking for their teammates, and indeed telling them to get themselves up to the front and guide them into a safe place. And that's the problem, Sean. We've got not necessarily the sprinters revealing themselves right now. It's an eternal problem with the 3 kilometre mark, and indeed rule, looming large. I think we better just explain to people again what that rule is, but in essence, when you get to the 3 kilometre marker, if there is a crash after that, today we may well have one, because road space is going to be at a premium, and sometimes when you have a lot of space to play with, it can draw out a little bit of madness, especially for those who think, hey, I could win a stage here today. A quick man, and a lot of the big sprinters are elsewhere. It means that ambition sometimes can be misplaced. In fact, you can get yourself into all kinds of bother late on. If there is a crash within the last 3 Ks, then nobody will lose time if they're caught behind it, and it's not their fault, Sean. And that's the race. It's the race to the 3K. It's almost like a finish line before the finish.
Yes, well, it is important to get to the 3K, but after that point as well, it's not over, because if if there's a split in the peloton and there's no crash, which gives you the opportunity, let's call it, to be credited at the same time as the first rider in the stage, but you have to still continue on fighting there to stay up there, because if there is somebody who leave a gap go, you could take 10-15 seconds very quickly. So it is a good point when you get to the 3 kilometres, but it's definitely not over at that point.
We're weaving our way through Narbonne at the moment. 14.4 kilometres. There's a potential spoiler coming up for some of you from Hamburg, so just cover up the tweet at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. But nonetheless, it's good news for the teammates of the man who's done the job in Hamburg. We won't say any more than that, just in case you're going to be watching it yourselves a little bit later on. 14.1 kilometres then from home, and if you want a pinch point, check that one out, Sean. They're taking it rather gingerly. There's a lot of elevated street furniture here to be dealt with.
Yes, and it goes on and goes on, and we talked about that quite a long time ago in our broadcast, and it just continues. And you go through sections where it does tighten up a lot, and we're on a section of that at the moment, and that just goes all the way, and it has been like that all day. And the riders and the team directors had talked about that before the start of today's stage. It was going to be a really dangerous stage where you could have some crashes and you could lose a lot of time. It's going quite well for everybody, really, except for some of the riders that did crash out and out of the race. We have 2 riders already abandoned, but for the general classification, men, and the teams, it's going quite well with just over 13 kilometres to go. They will be happy with that. There's no major breakups in the peloton, no big crashes where there's lots of riders going down, and the general classification men have been getting through quite well today.
Interesting to see that Bahrain Merida are starting to show their nose right now. Vincenzo Nibali wasn't too happy about the team time trial yesterday, but they have got Garcia, who in fact just wrestled to the front earlier on just in case there was a breakaway to mark it out himself. Didn't happen, and now he's got support, including Vincenzo Nibali himself, who's riding in a safe place. There he is, P2 on the left-hand side of your screen. You can also see that AG Tour La Mondiale are here, and there has been a knockback. It's opened up the centre of the road, and Aqua Blue have said, well, if nobody wants to be here, then we'll be here. There is, of course, Nicholas Roach as well in the blue polka dots. He's somebody who can just trip off the front and give it a dig. Saw him do that in the Tour of Yorkshire, losing out to Tommy Vogler a couple of years ago. And yeah, he's the sort of guy who can impose himself when he needs to. A strong man, good bike handler as well. But I think he's a sensible marker for the time being for BMC, potentially for Daniel Oss a little bit later on. The old part of town here in Narbonne is rather beautiful. Apparently, if you weren't actually seated on the land, if you built a house on a bridge, you didn't pay land tax, which is why Ponte Vecchio and others as well, the Ponte de Marchand, the Merchants Bridge, there you go. See, merchants, they know a thing or two about tax, historically so. 12 kilometres to go then, as we dwell rather too long on the Merchant's House. And here we are. They are at pace, a lot of road space to play with. And so you've got this familiar look, Sean, of a pitchfork, two-pronged as it may well be, opening up in the centre and drawing in a response. It's this lovely ebb and flow that we get at pace on a sprint day.
Yes, and we can see here again, it's a little bit of time here where they're slowing down a little bit, yeah, quite a wide road here with 11.5 to go. It's working out, yeah, I think quite a good day for a lot of the riders here. They were expecting, I think, more of more aggressive racing earlier on the day, and certainly at this point in the race, but we're getting closer and closer to finish, all going well. Big group of riders still together. A lot of riders will be happy with the way it's going at the moment.
11k's out. In fact, the ticker absolutely matching whoever planted that, so well done to him. It's strangely a rarity. This race is going to be explosive. the finale of this stage 2, but deeper into the race with mounts, climbs such as the Angliru, Monachil as well, the Cala Alto. Plenty of uphill finishes. In fact, we're uphill tomorrow as we head to Andorra. Today, though, it's about getting to Spain. And we spent 193 kilometres doing exactly that so far of the 203 available to us. And right now, as you can see, it's about the approach, staying safe, making sure that those who are bidding for the title deeper into this race are in a good place, but also giving yourselves the opportunity to take the day and potentially the lead of the race. With 10.2 kilometres to go, it's suddenly got very, very lively. It's an narrow straight road for now, but that's not going to remain the case. There's a few twists and turns to be had, not least a rather nasty couple of roundabouts that they've got to deal with. Another kilometre down, 10 indeed, that's the marker. El Pozzo, I'm not quite sure what they produce, but today it's down to the teams to deliver their fast men where they need to. We haven't really dwelt on Team Bora. They've got Schwarzman here today, the German who can go rather quickly when he needs to. He's got Andreas Schillinger and Christoph Sfinksen as well, with Mirko Kolar, the Slovak, as part of his lead out. Michael Morkov can do it for Katusha. They've been lively on more times than not, perhaps, of those on the approach. We've got Garcia for Bahrain Merida, Sasha Modolo for UAE Team Emirates, so watch out for them with their white, black, red and green. We have, of course, Cofidis with a number of options, but Van Genecten, we believe, will be theirs, and Sunweb it is that are going for this with Anderson, their chosen son. Sky staying safe. They're on minding duties at the moment as we leave Narbonne and head back into a highway which will bring us today inexorably to Guisson, our finish line. We're less than 9 kilometres away, Sean, and still they're trying to sort themselves out into colour order. It's when you get pinch points, as we've had, a lot of pace about it and a lot of road to play with, you get a lot of movement, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Yes, well, again, we can see there's quite a large road here. A lot of riders looking about to see where their men are, and trying to get organised once again. And very difficult to keep organised here because you're on a large road as we have at the moment. Then there's a tightened up section, and you lose your riders. They get pushed out, and you get knocked out of formation, and that's been happening all the time here. But we can see the pace is starting to build all the time here, because the line of riders we have here at the moment, that just shows up front they're starting to push on. And not surprising, just over 8 kilometres to go. It's the time when you would expect the peloton to go at a real fast rate and gaps starting to appear.
Yeah, they are. Conor Dunn is a big lad. How tall is Conor Dunn, the Irishman? He's a rangy character, isn't he? Taking a lot of wind at the back, I'm afraid.
6'7".
Good Lord. Is he the biggest man here?
Yes.
There we are. Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason he's catching so much wind.
He is, I'm afraid. Doesn't need a pitchfork. He just plonks the bales on the top deck for you. He's more than that, though. Slightly agricultural, I'm afraid, in his style right now, because he's been caught out behind one of these gaps. He's not the only one, of course. Meanwhile, Team Sky keeping the hurt on, and this is having a big impact further behind. 7.3 to go. Well, why not Team Sky? Indeed, they're digging in for glory right now. Wouldn't be a natural choice for the sprint, but this is about making sure that Chris Froome is safe. He knows about those roundabouts that we've talked about. Expect Team Sky to have done their job in another 4 kilometres time, when everyone is nice and safe. I've actually seen Chris Froome actually duke it out for some sprints, even against Sagan in the past. I don't think it's going to be the case today, but he's in a good point. He's in a good position, a safe one as it stands.
Yes, and getting to the under 7 kilometres to go, of course, with Team Sky. The best way and the easiest way to hold on front is to start riding at a very fast rate and start to change a rider. We can see Stannard there, he just moves over a little bit, the rider in his wheel comes through, and they are starting to really push on here. And if you have 3 or 4 riders, and with Team Sky, of course, we can see Christian Knies, they are just taking it up now. They've those riders, they can all ride 3 or 4, then they can ride all the way to the finish, and that way you keep Chris Froome out of danger, because you keep him right on the front end of the peloton.
Aguirre and Borges, all from the Manzana Colombian team, and I'm afraid all of these guys further back here
Atapuma
have been trimmed off. What is Atapuma's had a desperate day today. And Sky's engine room also hampered, as you can see. Yeah, and Nievi down there, he's got duties to do when it gets to the mountains. Visconti for Bahrain Merida also caught out, but with 5.7 kilometres to go, it's not really. Gosh, there is Conor Dunn. He really does cast a big shadow, does he not? There he is in the white with the gold chevron. He's got teammates who've been guided into position essentially by Team Sky here. Adam Blythe and Mark Christian may well be having to buy the drinks at the end of the day. We shall see. They're just starting to show their face. Nicholas Roach, you know, he's done a lot of driving work and he's still very much there in the polka dots. They're ranging and just enveloping each other at the moment as waves of riders take position and then lose out momentarily. Michael Schwartzman is being guided up for Bora Hansgrohe here. Could well be an option. 5.2, they're on a nasty drag at the moment, Sean. They'll come up over the peak of this. There's a highway going underneath them, by the way, but it's a proper sapper late on after such a long day with 5 to go.
Yes, and we can see it's Stannard who is just continuing on to set the pace here on the front of the peloton, and some attack starting here from Astana.
Yes, indeed. Just trying to see who it is. Jesper Hansen is actually involved. Meanwhile, Quick Step. We expect to see more of them at the pointy end of today, maybe for Matteo Trentin. They've got a trio there, and I believe that's Bob Jungels and Julian Alaphilippe doing some guiding duties as well. Nicky Terpstra won't be far off, didn't see him, but 4.5 kilometres remaining of today, and Astana take the nose right now. This is working to try and put a little fire out for Fabio Aru, who lost so much time, I guess you might say, although Aru not to be seen just for the time being. The white jersey, the combined jersey of
like you have Bob Jungels from Quick Step, he will be, you know, to the front of affairs, and if there's an opportunity, he's rather than go from a kilometre, 1,500 metres out. Just the real power man can do that.
Pondering a seminary here, nicely hidden. It's all on display, though, as far as the peloton is concerned. So still digging in here, 3.4 kilometres to go. Chris Froome is going to get to that safety marker, likewise Aru, and indeed Nibali. Alberto Contador as well. His team Trek Segafredo did some of the chasing, but look, it is indeed Quick Step that are lurking right now, with Daniel Oss with the white combined jersey for BMC just bedded in. Here comes Nibali and crew likewise, and in fact they've disengaged. Probably about 60-70 riders here have found themselves separated from indeed plenty of others who have been trimmed off due to the pace. Only 2.8 to go now. We've got a big turn on a roundabout coming up very, very soon. It's going to be a left-hander, and in fact it's writ large as the security bikes go through, and that's what they were racing for. Nice and safe. 2.5 kilometres out then, and suddenly we lose pictures from down on the ground. Here we are. Look at that, Sean. 6-7 wide into it, single file on the exit, and indeed they are gunning for it, those who've managed to make the escape out of that roundabout.
Yes, and we can see there as they come out of the roundabout, it's going to be a side wind coming from the left, and of course Quick Step are the ones who we can see here with a number of riders starting to push on here, and this is going to cause problems here, although we're just 2 kilometres out. If this continues for a couple of 100 metres, well, then there will be definitely splits in peloton.
Well, there is. It's interesting, Michael Woods and I think that's Simon Clark actually from Cannondale making a use of themselves. Tom Scoynes as well thinking about going for a very, very long one. As it stands at the moment, though, Quick Step have read the wind beautifully, Sean, but are they making the mistake of guiding Daniel Oss to glory? We'll wait and see. Also embedded within them is that Moritz, I can't quite see from you. Who's part of this front group. 1,500 metres only to go.
Yes, and we can see there it's Alaphilippe who's pushing on, and we can see the damage it's doing. It's causing a lot of splits in the peloton as we go inside. 1,300 metres to go here, and it's going to be an interesting one. There is going to be gaps, and will they be able to hold on out front with the Quick Step train still pushing on? Well,
it starts to wiggle. Alaphilippe doing a fantastic job of digging deep. It's on behalf of Matteo Trentin, who is there. Others wondering about the opportunity missed. Here is the Flamme Rouge then, as we come off this little slip road, if you like. It's time for Bid for Glory from way out, Sean, here.
Yes, it is. We can see the quick step rider. It looks like that Lampard who was pushing on
Think
here.
so.
700 metres to go, and he has a gap at the moment. And the little bit of side wind uphill, it caused a lot of problems for riders.
Well, we'll wait to see. 500 metres remaining. What a clever run this is, and I think he may well be bidding for glory here. This is that pesky turn that we were telling you about. A little shimmy one way and then the other, a flick-flack almost, as the chase is certainly on. Oh, after 4.5 hours in the saddle, I think that was a piece of perfect timing. We talked about reading the wind, and Quick-Step have done exactly that right now, and it looks like it may well be a gap that can't be bridged. Oh, and here they come. They're charging him down. What a superb victory that was. Clever, clever stuff, Sean.
Yes, well, they had the numbers in the front, of course, and when you have got that, well, then you can play the cards, and we could see there's 1 and 2 for the Quick Step Floors team.
Great work. Well, we thought it would be Matteo Trentin today. Nicky Terpstra, I thought, might well be involved as well, but it's been a question of keeping your nose out of the wind and then taking the opportunity to deliver when you possibly can. Absolutely superb stuff on this, the first day of full-on road racing after the team time trial yesterday. And Quick Step Floors, I believe, have wrestled control of this race, and here we are. What a way to do it. There we are. Quick Step Floors have delivered, and Yves Lampaert carries a famous victory. A rare one as well, Sean. It shows you what a lottery it was out there. We're expecting Trentin with Terpstra and Bob Jungels, but you play the cards you have, and Yves Lampaert was the best one out there today. Well,
yeah, he is a super strong rider, a great time trialist, and took advantage with the team out front. He just slipped away there around the kilometre 800 metres to go, held off very well, and his teammate, of course, Trentin, just taking second. So domination by the Quick Step Floors.
Yves Lampaert with a 10-second bonus added to his tally, don't forget, and there he is digging in for glory. That was timing, and that roundabout really did play an important role. He was able to thread the line through it, Sean. A little flick-flack, as we said. We didn't get a great view of it because the helicopter wasn't in place, but nonetheless he rode the line absolutely impeccably and was not to be caught.
Well, of course, some riders, they are just great bike handlers, and certainly he had the advantage. He had the perfect line. You can choose your line, of course, when you're out in front, but you have to be able to do it as well.